One reason for low enrollment of girls is parents are not very enthusiastic about sending young girls to school where the teacher is not a female. In other words, female teachers at the primary level would probably allow for more female students coming into schools. Thus, you have to look at the disparity because the schools are far. They are not close to living areas, and when schools are far, even mature young women are not permitted by their families to travel long distances, even if they want to teach in such schools. Thus, there will need to be a balance among the gender based on the teachers that teach at this primary level. So again, if you look, we've got in Punjab, about 81,000 male teachers, 106,000 female teachers. But if you look at the other provinces, you will find that there are more male teachers than there are female teachers. So across the country, although fortunately Punjab tends to be having the upper hand and the upper edge, across the country, this doesn't seem to be right. And so with more male teachers teaching at the primary level, and the families not willing to send their young girls to schools where mainly the teachers are men, creates the gender disparity. So again, the hiring authorities will have to see. They will have to do something, provide transport, provide better incentives, so that young women are allowed to step out of their homes and work in these school environments. According to this table that you just saw, there are about 425,000 teachers in schools. 53% of them are male and 47% are female. You might look and say, well, this is nearly 50%, there's a good balance. Not so when parental pressure seems to be to have more female teachers in schools. And we will need to fulfill those parental requirements if we want more girls going to our schools and even in higher education. Teachers in the Punjab, AGK and ICT areas, there are more female teachers than males in those areas because over here they are allowed to leave their homes. They don't have to travel really long distances to reach the schools, and so the chances that more female students enroll in these particular areas is higher. Teachers, if you look at urban and rural, you will find that in the urban setting, there are chances that there might be a balance, or the numbers between male and female teachers will be close. But in the rural areas, again, where girls tend not to be allowed to leave homes and travel long distances, the infrastructure, the road environments, the transportation facilities are not good, and parents do not allow their girls to leave home. On the other hand, men or young boys are allowed to leave home. Even if they have cycles, they can cycle down a few distances to get to the schools. Women would not be allowed to ride cycles and get to schools, even if they wanted to teach. And therefore, this disparity in the urban and the rural settings still seems to exist. In the rural areas of Pakistan, 61% of teachers in primary schools are male. And that's exactly the reason why. Because males would be allowed even to walk on their own, maybe walk with 3-4 friends, get to the school together, cycle down to school, while women in the same areas would not be allowed to walk isolated or even in a group of 3-4 friends. Neither would they be allowed to even ride bikes and cycle down to schools. And therefore, the schools have no option but to keep the male teachers, and it's the male teachers that keep the female students away from such school environments. And this makes it more complicated in terms of getting equity in terms of gender among the students. So if we want gender balance among students in our primary schools, we will have to try and make sure that there is gender balance among the teaching staff. And I would even go to say maybe the gender balance should be tilted towards the female staff more. There are, of course, security problems today, poor housing and transport. We've talked about transport, but what about housing facilities? If even schools provided decent housing facilities for females, how many of our female people would be allowed to leave homes, live even in a group setting, 3, 4, 5 female teachers living together in a home away from their own personal homes? Not many. And the security and safety issues that have arisen in recent years only complicates the issue more. So if we want female students coming to schools, we will have to make sure we make arrangements, appropriate, safe, and secure arrangements to hire, hold on to, and keep the female teaching staff.